Sitting here, in this quaint little cafe by Bebek Beach, I can't help but reflect on how life twists and turns, much like the waves of the Bosphorus I'm gazing at right now. It's been a year since I made one of the toughest decisions of my life, and honestly, it feels surreal to be here, sipping coffee and feeling free. But let me take you back to where it all began. 2 years ago, I was in love. I had devoted myself to a man who seemed perfect, Mert, my husband. He was charming, attentive, and swept me off my feet with romantic gestures. But, as time passed, that fairy tale began to unravel. A year into our marriage, I realized something was off. The late nights at work, the distracted conversations, the way he'd look right through me, as if I was just a shadow in his life. It was as if I was slowly fading away, and I felt it deep in my bones. Then, one fateful evening, I stumbled upon a message on his phone. "Shall we meet at 8 tonight? I can't wait to see you." Just like that, my world shattered. I mean, how do you even process that? Instead of letting panic take over, I decided to be calm, collected. I wanted to confront this head-on. So, I followed him the next day, and there they were, sitting together in a cafe, laughing, sharing moments that I thought were ours. The woman was younger, vibrant, and I could see why he was drawn to her, but I wasn't ready to throw in the towel just yet. That night, I set the table for a romantic dinner, trying to evoke the beautiful memories we once had. Mert looked confused, almost wary, and I forced a smile, hoping he'd see the determination in my eyes. We sat there, and as I watched him, my heart raced with suspicion and fear, but I held my ground. I wanted to give him a chance to come clean, to choose honesty over deceit. A week later, I found a file on his computer that laid everything bare: notes, photos, and the ultimate betrayal, a secret child. My heart sank, but instead of breaking down, I chose to think. I thought about confronting him, about sharing this with my family, but I needed clarity. So, I made a bold decision. I reached out to the other woman. When we met, her bewilderment was palpable. "Who are you?" she asked, and I took a deep breath. "I'm Ela, Mert's wife, and we need to talk." It was surreal, sitting across from someone who was living a life I thought was mine. But as we spoke, her story unraveled, and I realized she was just as much a victim of Mert's lies as I was. By the end of that conversation, we decided together that it was time to confront him. When Mert came home that evening, the look on his face was priceless. The silence was thick, the tension palpable. I remember asking him, "Now it's time to make a choice, Mert. Will you face the truth, or will you keep running from your lies?" He was speechless, and in that moment I felt a surge of power. I was reclaiming my narrative. That night, I chose to leave him. It was my first step toward freedom, and let me tell you, it felt liberating. I learned so much about my worth, about what I deserved, and I promised myself that I would never let anyone question that again. Now, a year later, I sit here, looking out at the Bosphorus, and I can't help but smile. I've rebuilt my life focusing on my happiness, my independence. I've learned that sometimes, the most complex knots in our lives can lead to the most beautiful untangling. So if you're feeling lost or trapped, remember, your worth isn't defined by someone else's actions. It's time to reclaim your story and live it fully.